Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhagavad Gita class. We will start with Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we will start with chapter 15 today and let us see how far we get. So I'll share the slide. Slide is visible?
Yeah. Yes.
So we are starting 15th chapter.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. We are starting 15th chapter, a very important chapter in Bhagavad Gita. And it is also a summary of the entire Bhagavad Gita, more or less. So, as we had discussed, Bhagavad Gita Bhakti section ended at chapter 12. Then we go into the Jnana Yoga section, where Bhagawan Krishna is showing that Jnana is not, is also meaningful, is also very useful for our Bhakti, and how we can make progress in our Bhakti through by obtaining the necessary amount of Jnana for our Bhakti. So, in the first 12 chapters, a deep discussion about Paramatma and Prakriti had not occurred. So Paramatma was discussed in detail by Sri Krishna in chapter 13, and Prakriti was discussed in detail in chapter 14 from a building block perspective, which are the gunas, the three modes of material nature. So chapter 15, so chapter 13 started with a question, but chapter 14 did not start with any question. In the middle of chapter 14, middle means towards the end, there was a question by Arjuna as to how this Gunatita person behaves and acts. But other than that, chapter 14 was a continuation. And similarly, chapter 15 is a continuation and chapter 16 will be a continuation. So that is why in the slide here, I have shown how these chapters are connected. So Paramatma and Prakriti were discussed in chapter 13. Jiva, Paramatma and Prakriti. Prakriti was discussed in more detail in chapter 14 through the gunas. And now in chapter 15 is like a summary of our situation and of Bhagavad Gita, showing how jiva is entangled in Prakriti, in this material world, and is trying to stay or remain engaged in the material world, in Prakriti, and what is the purpose of jiva while jiva is in Prakriti. So it's a very important chapter, although much of it has been covered, that jiva is entangled in Prakriti and one should do bhakti in while in the material world to get out of the material world. So bhakti is the means. So this all has been discussed so far, but it will be very nicely put together in a summary format by Sri Krishna. Chapter 16 then will be what happens to those who do not want to get out or who do not put the effort to get out of this material world. Yeah, there are some lot of additional themes in or points in chapter 15. I'm amazed as to how Sri Krishna is able to put the entire knowledge in just 20 verses. First of all, we are amazed as to how Sri Krishna puts the entire knowledge in 700 verses of Bhagavad Gita. What takes thousands and thousands of verses in Vedas and other scriptures, just 700 verses, everything has been compressed. And within that, just 20 verses, smallest chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, and 12th also, same size, 20 verses. But one of the smallest or the smallest chapter, how Sri Krishna has compressed the entire knowledge in 20 verses. So it will be a nice summary of all the concepts of Bhagavad Gita. So let us start. So I don't have much slides. I have reused pretty much the slides from last year, and I was reviewing the recording of last year of the previous batch. And I realized that that's also covering all the points that I will be making. So, I'm doing this sort of repeating the whole 15th chapter discussion for those who are studying Bhakti Shastri, or just in case if you're interested in a different flavor, there are previous series of Bhagavad Gita that have been done, and one very kind devotee is also doing the sort of a sequenced sort of topics within a class called timestamps or with timestamps. So you can take advantage of all these resources and review from previous series of Bhagavad Gita as well. And of course, there are so many other series of Bhagavad Gita done by many other devotees all over the world that you can take advantage of. Mine is not the only one, and this is not the best one either. It is just a version which I'm sharing as my humble offering and seva to Guru and Krishna. So please take advantage of all these things. The main purpose is to understand the Bhagavad Gita at the time when we need it most, to be able to apply it when we need it most, not to pass any exam. The exam that we need to pass is the exam that is given by life. So I don't have much slides, I was saying, and we'll be reusing slides from last year. But keep your Bhagavad Gita today, since I have few slides. Must have your Bhagavad Gita with you. Yes. And we will use your Bhagavad Gita, which is in your hands, quite a lot. So, inverted tree. So first we will start with this topic of inverted tree. Okay. So here on the picture, you see an inverted tree. Now, of course, from the picture, it is very clear that the tree which is inverted is a reflection of the actual tree. And the picture or reflection that we see is in water. So in water, we see the tree which is inverted. Now, there are several questions that can be asked. So, what is the difference between a real tree and this inverted tree, which is shown in the picture as a reflection? What does this inverted tree represent? And having known that, okay, there is an inverted tree and an actual tree, what should a person do about it? What lesson can be learned from it? So let us first go into the last time I was looking at the video of last series. I had made it more interactive, asked people, but I'll just go sort of as a class or as a lecture this time. If you have any questions or comments, you can always raise your hands and share. But please, I request everybody who wants to take advantage of the sessions to listen very, very carefully and attentively. So what is the difference between a real and an inverted tree? And when we say inverted tree as a reflection. So first, let's see what is a real tree. What does a real tree give us? A real tree, when we think of a tree, what it gives us mainly is a couple of things like, shade is one thing, and fruits or flowers or whatever the tree as useful things for us human beings. So these are the things that a real tree gives us. Just to state the example, can an inverted tree, a reflection of the tree, give us these things? Is it possible for a reflection to give this? No, it is not. So then but the reflection or the reflected tree looks, from a appearance standpoint, looks very much like the real tree. There are so many examples of where something was a reflection and it looked very real. A mirage, for example, looks real even though it is imaginary. It's reflected light. In Mahabharata, there is the story of Duryodhana mistaking um, pool of water to be ground, to be the floor, and he stepped on it and he fell into the water. So the reflection is not the real tree. Now, then the question becomes, in our lives or from a Bhagavad Gita standpoint, what is being represented by this inverted tree? There are similarities. It looks the same, but it is not the same. It does not give fruits, flowers, shade, but from a form perspective, it looks similar. Not same, and we will come to that, but similar. So what does the inverted tree represent? So the answer that is available in the Bhagavad Gita is that the inverted tree represents the material world. Why does it say that? Because we are in this material world. We live here, just like, and we see the material world around us. Just like in the spiritual world, the living entities are living and they are going out and about in the spiritual world. So from a look perspective, this is the same. But the point is that it is different because it does not give us that same happiness that one can get in the spiritual world. Now, there is happiness in the material world, but it is temporary and it is limited. Everybody will agree that there is some happiness in the material world. We have our relatives, friends, which give us some happiness, money, health, house, whatever, shelter, Food gives us happiness. Some people are cranky when they are hungry. So you eat something and you feel happy. But we all agree that those same things that give us happiness are also sooner or later sources of misery. Sometimes the sources of misery become sources of happiness. So it keeps going in a up and down sine wave kind of scenario. So the material world does give us some resemblance of eternal unlimited happiness, but it's just a small resemblance. We think we are happy. When we begin to feel happy, then misery occurs. So in that sense, there is similarity and dissimilarity between the reflection and the real world or the real tree. Similarity here is represented by the form or the appearance, and difference is the lack of real fruits, real shade, which means real happiness that can actually satisfy us. So that is the meaning of the real or the upright and the inverted tree example in the Bhagavad Gita, which is the first two verses of the 15th chapter. So let us see and read the first two verses of the 15th chapter, and then we will come to the third bullet as to what should we do about it, will be covered in the next two verses. Shri Bhagawan Uvacha. So Shri Krishna begins to speak. Again, notice this chapter does not begin with a question. So Shri Krishna begins to describe the material world. And this chapter, once again, is about jiva's entanglement in the material world, which is a very important topic, and how jiva should get out of this material world, or all the infrastructure, the whole system that is present to enable, to help, to inspire the jiva to get out of this material world. So that is the focus of chapter 15. So first is description of the material world itself. Urdhvamulam adhashakham ashwatham prahuravyayam chamdamsi yasya parnani yattam veda savedavit. So the translation is it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree, ashwatham. So sometimes ashwatha is translated as a banyan tree, sometimes it is translated as a peepal tree. That's okay. Both translations are correct in Sanskrit. The ashwatha tree, sometimes in some varieties of Sanskrit, it means one versus the other. Generally, it means the peepal tree, but in some scenarios, it also means the banyan tree, and Srila Prabhupada has taken the translation as a banyan tree. Now, there is a very peculiar thing about this banyan tree, which is urdhva moolam adha shakham. Moola means root, shakha means branches. In a normal tree, the branches are up and the roots are down. But in this case, urdhva means up and moola means root. Roots are up and the shakha is adha or down, which means it is an inverted tree. And this tree is, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree. Prahu, it is called as avyayam. It is eternal, or it has been there forever. So the material world also has been there forever. Now, material world is temporary. It doesn't mean that the entire material creation is temporary. A given universe is very, very temporary. But the existence of material nature as separate from the spiritual world has been there from anadi, from beginningless time. So avyayam. And chamdamsi yasya parnani yastam veda savedavit. So the Vedic hymns, chanda, Vedic hymns of the various shastras, primarily the Shruti Shastra, are the chandas. Yasya parnani are the leaves, the small leaves of the tree. Now the tree is at the outside of the tree, there's just the leaves. Inside is all the complexity, the branches, the twigs, and all those things. And the roots are definitely not visible. But what you mainly see in a reflection of a tree are the leaves. And these leaves, what it means is, are the most important thing of the material world, which means that the most valuable thing in the material world is the presence of spiritual knowledge. So, this is a very important aspect, that in the material world, if there is anything which is permanent, it is the spiritual knowledge which is permanent. Or material world is also called as permanent here, avyayam. It is eternal, imperishable, which means it is permanent. How do we know the rahasya or the mystery or the secrets of this material world? Through the chandas, through the scriptures. So the scriptures tell us the reality of this material world. So, like the leaves tell us that the tree exists, the scriptures tell us the internal nature of this material world. That is what is actually the last line as well. Yastam Vedasa Vedavit. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. Or conversely, one who knows the Vedas knows the nature of this tree as well. So, to know this tree, where must you look? You must look in the Vedas or the Chandas of the Vedas. So, that is the meaning of the first verse, which was describing right at the outset that there is this material world. It's a reflection of the real world, which will come soon. But also, that if you want to understand this material world, you must look to spiritual knowledge. Now, something different is said, slightly opposite text 2. Adhaschordhvam prasattastasya shakha guna pravriddha vishaya pravala adhascha mulyan anusantatani karmanubandhini manushya loke. So this is the Indravajra meter, the longer meter in the Bhagavad Gita. So now it says that the branches of this tree are up, are down and up. So adha and urdhva. So the branches were earlier said to be down. Now they are said to be up and down. Prasartas tasya shakha. So the branches are up and down. Guna pravriddha vishaya pravala. And this tree is made up of gunas, of the material elements, the gunas, the three gunas. Adhashta mulyan anusantatani. That this tree has roots which are going down as well. So earlier it was said that the root is going up. Now it is also being said that the root is going down. And karmanubandhini manushya loke, we will come to this point. So what is being said is that there is distortion in this reflection. So it's not the picture that you see on the screen right now is like a very calm water. But if the water was very, what do you say, with a lot of turbulence, then you would see a very distorted version of the reflection, sometimes up, sometimes down. So what is being said here is that the material world is a distorted version. It's not an exact reflection of the actual tree. It's not only a reflection, that means some key aspects are missing, but it is very distorted as well. And what it means is that the happiness that we get, sometimes that we feel that it is, I'm getting happiness in this material world. We try the same thing again. What do we get? Misery. So there is no formula. You cannot say that this is the way to get happiness. Or you get some happiness from some source. Next time, the same source gives you misery. Like friends, relationships, whatever, in the job. One time they hire you, next time they fire you. And so many things happen. So, like this, karma anubandhini manushya loke. And this tree, therefore, is representing manushya lok, or the material world. And the jiva out of his karma is entangled, anubandhini. So karma is entangling the jiva in this manushya lok, or in the material world. So the translation is, the branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes, guna pravriddha, of the material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. The tree also has its roots going down, and these are bound to fruitive actions of human society. So, the tree is the material world, and we are bound in this tree through our actions. Now, how many of us can fully realize? Now we are going into the third verse, and we are trying to answer this question, that now that we know that this material world is like this, we think that we will get permanent happiness here, but we don't find it. What is our duty, or what should we do? So, first thing is to realize that we are in this material world. And the second thing then is to see how we can get out of this. This is to see the spiritual world, that yes, a better place exists. So, if you are drowning in the water, you think you want to hold on to the tree to prevent yourself from drowning. First, you have to realize this is a reflection, it's the material world. By catching the material world, I will not be saved from drowning. So, what should we do? We should also realize that out there is the real tree. So, I must somehow try to get out of this water somehow, and Krishna will show how. But somehow we have to get out of this material water and of this material world, go to the banks, and then take shelter of the actual tree. Then I can get all the shelter, shade, fruits, and all the benefits of the actual real tree. So, till we don't understand, first of all, the nature that of this, if we don't even realize that I'm in a pool of water and drowning, there is not much access to get out of here. And for most of the people, that is the situation. They are trying to live a good enough life, as good as possible, trying to make a what you call lemonade out of a lemon. So that's what most people are trying to do, and they don't care about trying to figure out the nature of the material world. That is the first line, that na rupam asyeha tatho upalabhyate. What would be the way to sing it, Indra Vajra? Hmm. न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न च आदिः न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेन सविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा. Yeah. So that's the verse. So na rupam asyeha tatho upalabhyate. That nobody can understand what is the full rupa. One can understand bits and pieces, but the entirety one cannot understand. Just in our life, yes, we can understand. Yes, we have to be careful with people. We have to be, whatever. We understand some parts, but nobody has figured out how to live a very happy life all the time. So it's we figure out through our learning. Some people are more perceptive, they learn more. Some people are less and they learn less, but we all learn a little bit about the material world, but not fully. So narupamasyeha tatho upalabhyate. This real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. Na anto na cha adihi na cha sampratishtha. Nobody can know up, down, left, right, front, back of this tree. So this tree is so complex and so vast that no person can figure it out. Na anta, where is the anta? Where is the adi, beginning? Where is the foundation, pratishtha? So all these things, again, the word pratishtha is being used. Just two verses ago, it was used. aham, what is that? Brahmano hi pratishtha aham. So where is the foundation? So no one understands where it ends, where it begins, or where the foundation is. And this tree seems to be very strong. It doesn't go away. So as long as the real tree is there, this tree will also be there. You cannot, it seems like this tree is very, very strong. It doesn't flow away with the water. Like in the rainy season, there is dirt in the water. It flows away and then the water becomes clean. But the reflection stays whether the season is rainy or summer or winter or whatever, the reflection stays there. So Ashwatham Enam Sa Virudha Moolam. It's very strongly present. It never seems to go away. But Asanga Shastrena Dridhena Chitva. So our one's responsibility is to chitva. Usko chit kar dena means to cut it down. One should cut it down with dridhena, with determined shastrena, weapon of asanga, means of detachment. So if you read reverse, generally many Sanskrit sentences, if you read back to front, a sort of an English meaning emerges, more or less. So one must cut it in a very determined way with the weapon of detachment. So, what is the secret of getting out of this material world? The first step. It's not the only step and it's not the most important step, but the first step is to develop a sense of detachment or to realize that this material world is not the place where I want to be. So that itself is detachment. This is not where I want to be. That is a statement. The sentiment in that statement is detachment. This is not where I want to be. This is not the place that is providing me with the happiness that I'm longing for. So when one realizes that, then that automatically is a sentiment or a feeling of detachment. So the first thing is to observe, to realize that I am trapped, that this place is giving me trouble. And for some lucky people, I have said this so many times, this is a summary chapter. Therefore, there will be repetition that for some very few lucky people, they may not see the misery of this material world. Maybe they have done a lot of punya karma, pious activities, and that's why they are having a wonderful life. Well, they can first of all realize that their life will end. That is at least one misery that is waiting. Nobody wants to give up a good situation. So if this life is good, there is death, old age, disease, death potentially awaiting. Plus, one can realize that other people are suffering. So maybe in the future, in the next life, this enjoyment or this pleasure may not continue. So there may be suffering, if not today, then later. So with those things, one should become a little sober and try to realize that the best solution, or one should at least, again, not jumping to the solution, but that this material world is not a permanent place to be. Now, what to do? Now, whatever I was saying, that thought is being developed into more mature thought. So, not just that I must get detached from here. What after that? Getting detached from material world is one thing, then getting attached to something else is another thing. That is coming in fourth verse. So first it is talking about the realization. So getting detached is still at a material level. You find so many songs, Hindi songs of sadness, I don't know what song. Anybody can remind some song? Some song, तुमने मुझे छोड़ दिया, or whatever, the hero is singing that you left me or whatever, this, that. So there is that sense of detachment. You betrayed me. That is all material emotion. Today he is feeling betrayed by one, he'll go attach himself to another woman, then she will betray, or man, or whatever. The cycle continues. So detachment, or the feeling of detachment, comes, or one gets laid off from one company. You work so hard and the company mercilessly lays off. Then you feel detachment. I gave my life to this company. So that sense of detachment is there, but that inquiry generally does not exist, does not come. What is this material world about? That is what is coming up in the fourth verse. Tataha, therefore, or thereafter. Tataha, thereafter, not therefore. Ataha is therefore, sorry. Tataha is thereafter. Tataha padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuyah. So, parimargitavyam, what is that other path? Other path means some other solution. This solution is not working. I attached myself to one partner, I got betrayed, or one company, I got, uh, rejected. Another one rejected. Another one rejected. This this formula is not working. Let me look for a whole different formula at a different level, the spiritual formula. That is, Tataha Padam, being in this situation, let me look for a higher solution, a more advanced level solution at a whole different level. Parimargitavyam. Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuya. That which is permanent. If I take to Yasmin gata, if I take to that solution, I'm giving my own sort of a, it's not literal translation, but it is the meaning. Yasmin gata means after taking to that solution, then there is no problem. Nivartanti bhuyaha, I will not come back again to the place of misery or suffering. And what is that solution? Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. So Purusha here is being referred to as Bhagawan or as Sri Krishna. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye, to surrender to, prapadya, to surrender to Bhagawan. What is that verse? Prapadye. Anyway. Yatah pravritti prasarta purani. And from whom all this material world, again, beginning, end, all these things, Purani, time wise, location, spatial, this whole material world, which is no beginning, no end, no limits, boundaries are visible. It's infinite in spatial and time dimensions. From whom all this material world, this entire material creation comes, let me surrender to him. And that is the permanent solution. So that is there in the fourth verse. So the translation is, therefore, one must seek that place. So being in this material world, one must realize that I am stuck. This is not working out. And therefore, it is very, very important. The first step is to realize it's not working out. And so many times it is said, those people are lucky in one sense for whom life is not working out, because they can look to this higher solution with more seriousness, with more real perspective rather than a theoretical perspective. So one must feel in some sense as a blessing or a mercy of Bhagavan when some misery or some that much, how much one can tolerate is presented, and use that as a um, as a motivator to look for a permanent solution. So thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, which means a more permanent solution. And there, surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purusham Prapadye, from whom everything began. One must realize that this, in the previous verse, it was said that this Material world was na anto, na cha adihi, na cha sampratishtha. It was like infinite. Nobody can figure out. No need to figure out the material world, but one can figure out from whom the material world came. Who is the creator of everything, of the material world and everything else. So that Purusham Prapadye, that Supreme Lord, one should Prapadye, one should surrender. So that is the solution. Okay. So now if you look at these questions that I have put on the slide, it will make sense why those questions were put and what are the answers. Yeah. Okay. Next slide. So what is the real tree? So this was the unreal or the inverted tree. Now the real tree will be described. And again, I have just put some slides together, maybe for next series, if there is one. I may make more detailed slides, but this is what is there now. So therefore, have your Bhagavad Gita in front of you and listen very carefully. That will be the best. Maybe I should just stop showing the slides, but it's okay. It's a bunch of thought-provoking questions. So, what is that place? Okay, the previous verse asked the question or said that Yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha. Bhuyaha means again. One comes back again. Just like misery in this world keeps coming back again and again, no more again and again. It's permanent happiness. So, what is that place? And Purusham Prapadye. Who is this Purusham? What is our connection with this person? And realize that there is permanent happiness over there. Are we fully happy right now? What is the problem here? Why should we go there? So that has already been covered, but it will be developed more. The entanglement part. All that has been covered so far is that we are entangled here. That's it. And we don't know the extent or the nature of this material world. So that nature of the material world and how we are entangled is going to be described a little bit more in detail in the next upcoming few verses. So that we can understand. So text 5. Again, Indra Vajra meter. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama dvandvair vimukta sukha dukha sangair gachantyamudha padamavyayam tat. So again, 11 syllables, Indra Vajra, the longer meter of Bhagavad Gita. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram, that way. 8th chapter. Anyway. Nirmana Moha Jita Sanga Dosha. So, Nirmana, Moha, Jita, Sanga Dosha. 3 things. So, for one, again, this is a expansion of Asanga Shastrena Chitva. One should cut this material world dridhena chitva, with determination, with the shastra, weapon of asanga. That asanga is being expanded in this line. What is asanga? Nirmana. No man, no false prestige. I am this big man, I have this title, this upadhi. So sarva upadhir vinirmuktam, giving up all sense of man, titles. Moha, jita, one can overcome this moha and the dosha of sanga. Sanga means attachment, not sanga means like as people, but attachment to whatever is material vishaya from which we get sense gratification. It can be people, it can be things. So one can become free from these attachments once we get out of the moha through nirman, with giving up the ahankar or this false prestige. And then giving up nivritta kamaha, trying to reduce. Kama does not just mean lust as in like a male female lust, but kama means our intense desires for anything, whether it be for any material enjoyment, kama. So vinivritta kama. So once one is has has converted, has reduced their material desires and increased their spiritual desires. This was already discussed in the third verse, the fourth verse, that one must look for what is the better solution. So that hunger for better solution, hey, this material formula is not working. I need a different formula for my life. That hunger, some people may have that hunger. What is that they may go looking for? They are called seekers, sadhak. And once they find the formula, and bhakti is the best formula, so when they find the formula, that is adhyatma nitya. So that is what is being referred to, is that one who takes to the spiritual path and gives up the material kama, those material desires, and have converted them into this spiritual desire or this hankering for finding the better solution, the higher solution, the higher taste. Dvandair vimukta sukha dukha sangyai. So, giving up this duality, last class I had given that whole bullet about dualities. What are the dualities? Happy, sad, friend, enemy, win, lose, honor, dishonor. All these are the dualities. So, dvandvair, that is the dualities, vimukta. So, getting free from these dualities, such as sukha dukha sangyair. Gachanti amudha padam avyayam tat. And in this way, amudha, one should become amudha, go from mudha to amudha, become wise, and padam avyayam, go to that path. So earlier, what was the padam in the previous verse? This material world. Tataha padam tat parimargya tavyam. That now you are at this position. That is how the fourth verse began. And the fifth verse ends with padam avyayam. So going from that, coming from that padam of being stuck in the material world, one can go to this padam or position or situation of going to the avyaya padam, going to the eternal position. I hope you're all making, is it clear enough? It will be clear if you have your Bhagavad Gita in front of you and you listen attentively, then you will see all these connections. So text 5, those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, asanga, so free from false prestige, nirman, illusion, moha, jita means who have become free or who have conquered all these things, moha, and sanga dosh, the dosh of sanga, who understand the eternal, adhyatma nitya, who are done with material lust, vinivritta kama, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, dvandvaira vimukta, sukha dukkha sangyai, and who unbewildered is called amudha, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person to attain that eternal kingdom. So, Padam Avyayam Tat. Okay, and Padam Avyayam, to the Supreme Person, that translation is being taken from the previous verse. Chadyam Purusham Prapadye. So, nothing wrong there. Okay, Srila Prabhupada gives Bhavartha, not Shabdartha. Shabdartha is also given as synonyms. So if somebody is interested in Shabdarth, he should look at the word to word. but translations are also Bhavarth. And many previous acharyas give Bhavarth to understand the meaning, the real meaning of the verse. Some people criticize all these people. They criticize, oh, this Bhakti Vedanta Swami has, the translations are his own translations. So we must, there are all these scholars from universities and this and that. They want literal. They are trying to learn Sanskrit from Bhagavad Gita. Oh, how good is the translation? They are not trying to learn Krishna or Bhakti from Bhagavad Gita. So they are looking at it with the lens of scholarship, not with the lens of dinata. So dinata is very important. Means a sense of I am helpless. Karpanya dosha. That is the first verse of Bhagavad Gita. Not first, 2.7, but in the beginning. Karpanya means a sense of dinata, piteousness. I am struggling. When you are struggling, you don't ask questions. Oh, is the Sanskrit accurate? Okay. When you are struggling, you want a solution for your life. Then you not interested in shabdartha, but bhavartha. What will actually help? And of course, there is a lot of correctness in the translations, because if you look above and down verses, it will all make sense. So don't let anybody tell you Bhagavad Gita as it is not representing. It is actually representing fully correct. And then sometimes, sorry, going on this tangent, maybe the devotee who does timestamp can note this, that critique on the critique of Bhagavad Gita as it is, or critique on the critics of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Okay. They say that, oh, it is it denounces some of the other paths. So yes, Prabhupada says at so many places that bhakti is, one must take to bhakti, one must reject jnana path, karma, jnana and all. So there is this thing in today's world about this, being nice and, don't say bad things, not bad, or don't tell what's wrong, what's right. People are looking for what's wrong, what's right, so that they can choose the right path. And what to speak of that, even Krishna is using very strong words. He is saying, they are, what is that? Abuddhi, abuddhayaha, alpabuddhis. To the impersonalists, he's calling abuddhi. To the people who are simply surrendering to the devatas, they are calling, Krishna is calling avidhi purvakam, mudha. So all these people can, basically they are blaming Krishna for being strong, and we have no problem with that. They can blame Krishna. Krishna has been blamed for thousands of years. So they are no better than Shishupal and Dantavakra and Kamsa and all. So one should reject all these people as incarnations of Shishupal and Dantavakra. Well, there are no incarnations because they merged into the Supreme Lord, but of their mentality. Mentality lives on. Yeah, sorry for that tangent, but yeah. So now, what is that place? So text number 6 comes to that place. What is that spiritual world? When you surrender to Bhagawan, where do you go? What is that place? What is that real tree? So that's why I have taken this picture of on the slide and put it, the spiritual world as shown, like a tree, or tree has been shown. So this is the upright tree, the tree that is standing up. This is the real tree. So what is that place? Na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So this is back to Anushtup, eight syllable meter. So that place, this is describing the spiritual world. Tad dhama paramam mama. That dhama, and last line, parama is the topmost, and it is my dham, Krishna is saying, which means this is Vaikuntha Dham or Shri Golok Dham. One of the Vaikuntha Dhams in spiritual world is called Golok Dham, the topmost one. Tad dham paramam mama. That's the topmost, and it is my dham. And then, just like it was said in the previous verse or the fourth verse, that one should look for a place, yasmin gata na nivrittanti bhuyaha. One should try to find a place where one never keeps coming back to this place of misery. And Krishna is directly saying that place is there. Yad gatva na nivartante. One who goes there never comes back. And what is that? That place is permanent. Now, one is expected to understand that all these things are temporary. What? Sun, moon, fire. So, na tad bhasayate suryo, na shashanko na pavakaha. So, one is supposed to understand. Now, one can ask in ancient time, how do you know that sun and moon are not permanent? From modern science, we know they are not permanent. But that's a very stupid argument, even in the ancient or the knowledgeable rishis knew that this material world itself is temporary. The entire universe is temporary, what to speak of the sun and the moon. So what it is meaning here is that there is complete permanence, and it is not lit by the sun. Sun is temporary, which means today sun is there, tomorrow the sun will not be there. Today moon is there, tomorrow the moon will not be there. Now, sun and moon, as we will see in one of the future verses, are the primary sustainers of life on earth. Okay, one can think or say that air is the primary sustainer of life, or water. But think about it, first of all, it's the sun. And even from scientific perspective, sun is the first sustainer of any life on this planet. Then comes air, then comes water. There are many, many living entities, organisms that can live without air, without water. But think about it, without sun, it is not possible. So anyway, yeah, so there is, and if one cannot understand that, then fire, at least fire, pavakaha, that fire is not permanent. Even this basic person will understand that today fire is right now, it's there, you can get the heat. Once the fire dies, there is no more heat. So heat and cold, these are the two fundamental ups and downs of life. Fire provides heat. So that place, Vaikuntha, is not a place of such dualities. That is what is being meant here. And Krishna is the permanent source of all sustenance. Every living entity is sustained simply by Krishna himself, who is eternal and permanent, not by these temporary material objects or sources. So that is what is being said here. So very important verse. Na tad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So what is that place? That supreme abode of mine is not illuminated by the sun, moon, or nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Yad gatva na nivartante. Tad dhama paramam mama. That supreme abode of mine. All right. So 7th verse. Now comes the 7th verse, which is now showing. So this is the material world has been described. Spiritual world has been described. And what is the original constitutional place of the living entity? Now, I'm not saying living entity was first in spiritual world. That's not the meaning of constitutional place. Constitutional place means that the natural place. Okay, just like the natural place of a fish is water, or a better example would be like natural place for a tiger is what? The jungle. Now you may capture the tiger and put him in a zoo, okay, but its natural place is the jungle. Even better example can be that the natural place of a human being, as we understand, is the land. But if you put, human being can live in water for few seconds or minutes. We all have done swimming, so we can live in the water but not forever. Even the best swimmer cannot be in water forever. He can be on the land. So the natural position of the living entity is in the spiritual world, but it is in the material world. So what is happening to the material entity, to the living entity, why it is in the material world, what it is doing here, and how it is living, and finally what it needs to do. So all that will be discussed in the next few verses, and that's the other question in the slides, in the slide 15.6 and 7. What is our connection with God, and are we fully happy and satisfied in this material world? So let us analyze verse number 7. मामेव अंशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनः षष्ठानि इन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति. I think this is a memorization verse, if I'm not wrong. Another very important verse. 15th chapter, I think you should all just memorize fully. All 20 verses are just so important and so beautiful that you should memorize, and you should recite it often when you're driving, when you're showering, when you're doing anything. 15th chapter should just be, it's very sweet, so you should memorize. So mameva amsho, so these living entities has been described, they are suffering, or they are trapped, not suffering but suffering, yes, they are trapped in the material world. And Krishna has also shown his real, the actual upright tree, the real world, where there is permanent happiness. There is no impermanence or temporariness there. So all that has been shown. Now Krishna is trying to say that you living entities, this is your natural position, not where you are. And what is the proof? So first of all, Krishna is saying that Mama eva amsha jiva loke. You are my amsha. Okay. And but you are not with me. If you are my amsha, like my part and parcel, like a father's amsha is the child. Father gives birth to the child. So child lives with the father, right? So why are we not living in that place? That's our home. Father's home is the child's home. So why are we not there? So that is what Krishna is asking. Mameva amsho jivaloke. You are my amsha, but you are in jivaloka, in this material world. Jiva bhutah sanatana. You have been there all the time, and you have even forgotten me, but you have been, that's not here right now, but you are there in this material world from beginningless time, forever. Jiva bhutah, all the jivas, all you jivas who are my amsha, my children, you're not with me, you are away from me. In that jiva loka, from sanatana, from eternal time. And manah shashthani indriyani prakriti sthani, and you are, your jiva has taken on this material body. Manah shashthani indriyani, of the indriyas, the 5 indriyas plus the mana, mind, The 6 indriyas, you have taken this material body of these indriyas, and you are living in this jiva lok, in the material world. Prakriti sthani, you are living there and you are struggling. Karshati, that's a very important word. You are struggling over there. क्यों क्यों फालतू में स्ट्रगल कर रहे हो? भगवान कहते हैं, why are you struggling, huh? Why you guys are struggling over there? Come here. This is your home. So he has said it is your home because he has said, this is my home and you are my children. So, in other words, this is your home also. It's not just my home, it's your home also. So, that is what is being said here. And another point to be understood here, a subtle point, is that when you go out into a alien land, you are not in your natural constitutional position, which means you have to take a material body to go into a situation which is not natural to you. Just like like I was saying, a human being, man, natural position is land. If he has to stay in water, can he just stay like this? No, he has to wear a, what you call, a diving suit or whatever, with a oxygen tank and all those things. So he has to wear an external covering to go into a place which is not natural for the human being. Or if he has to go in space, can you go like this in space? Your body will burst, isn't it? What you have to wear in space? Space suit. Because that place is not natural for you. So you have to wear a space suit to survive there. Similarly, it is shown here that this is not a natural place for human beings. That's why human beings are wearing this suit called Manah Shasthani Indriyani. Otherwise, the jiva should live in the spiritual body in material world. Does that happen? No. But when it goes to spiritual world, does it have to wear a material body, a material covering? No. There it lives in its natural spiritual body. The jiva just lives. There is no covering at all. So from this alone, we can guess which is the natural position of a jiva. Material world, which is a covering, has a covering, or requires a covering, versus the spiritual world, which requires no covering. Common sense will say that the spiritual world is the natural residence of a jiva. And also Krishna is saying that there is permanence over there. You are my children, that is my home. Also an indication that our natural position is the spiritual world. Manah shasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. So the living entities in this conditioned world, jivalok, living entities, jiva bhuta, are my eternal fragmental parts, mama amsha, mameva amsha, are eternal sanatana fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, or due to being in this conditioned life, prakriti sthani, that is, they are struggling very hard. What is that word? Karshati. So being out here, you are struggling. Just like even if we are in a diving suit, we are not very happy in the water, as much as we can be here. With the 6 senses, which include the mind. Manah shasthani indriyani. But the living entity thinks I am happy enough here. Okay, I'm happy enough. So, somebody, like if you ask somebody who is afflicted by tamasic mode of ignorance and living a very destitute life, but may have seen such people, and you say, hey, why don't you, clean yourself, do something, come to a better situation, position, and get a good life. They will say, "Nah, I'm not interested." They'll say, get lost or whatever. Many people you might have seen that are not even trying to improve themselves. They're just resigned to that fact, and they just say, "This is the best I'll be. I'm happy enough. I'll be here in this substandard position." But those who are in a higher position say, "Hey, what a fool this is. He doesn't know that a better situation is possible." So, like that. So, the living entity, like ourselves, we are just wandering in this material world thinking this is it. It doesn't get better. Whatever suffering, little happiness, little suffering, we'll just, I'm fine. Shariram yad avapnoti, verse number 8. Yat chapi utkramati shvaraha, utkramati shvaraha, grihitva etani samyati vayur gandhani va ashayat. So the living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aroma. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. So one just has this tendency of little bit enjoyment, some enjoyment. I got some enjoyment. That formula worked for me. I will try to repeat the formula and try to reproduce the happiness. And sometimes he is successful, sometimes he is not successful. And he has these desires. I want this happiness, want this happiness. So, in that process, because Bhagawan is our father, he grants us the permission to have some little limited enjoyment within our limited scope of allowance, karmic allowance, to have limited enjoyment. And we have so many desires. So Bhagavan puts us into various species of life. Say, oh, today you want to do this and this ice cream, we'll take you to the ice cream shop today. Tomorrow you want to have dosa, we'll take you to the dosa shop. You cannot have all of it together. Your stomach will get upset. Your limited scope of enjoyment. So tomorrow dosa shop, next day chocolate, okay, next day chocolate shop. So Bhagavan keeps taking us through these various species. In each species one has the facility to have one kind of enjoyment more than the other. Every species has some speciality to enjoy. So, and in some cases more, in some cases not so much. And there are, of course, species where there is suffering as well. If the living entity has been very, has a lot of negative credits or sinful credits. So, like this, the living entity keeps going around in the cycle of life. This is the hard or the struggling part, but it requires a contemplative and introspective living entity, which basically happens in the human form. It's only in the human form that one can contemplate or introspect that I am going around in this cycle and ultimately there is suffering. There is some suffering. And one can do some analysis about now suffering and happiness is experienced even by animals. Okay. You see a dog and when it or a cow, when it comes closer to its calf, it will feel so happy it runs towards each other. They run toward each other. Even a bird or whatever, you try to attack the child, the bird will come and attack you because there is attachment and love for the child. So there is happiness and distress in all forms of life, but the ability to analyze that is available only in human life. But the living entities keep going through this cycle. So that cycle is beautifully described in 9th verse. So we didn't advance the slide. So this is all these questions are now answered. What is our connection with God? We are children of God. And are we happy in all circumstances? No, we are struggling and going through these cycles of birth and death. And then, are all living entities enjoying? Yes, but there is a cost, there is a suffering also. So, what are the living entities? Various living entities, various species. So, verse number 9 tells that so many species are there. Shrotram chakshuh sparshanam cha rasanam ghranam eva cha adhisthaya manashchayam vishayan upasevate. So, shrotra means shruti, ear. So, different, every living entity has different kinds of senses. That's how you differentiate one living entity from another. Like elephant has a long nose, whatever, so many. Chakshu, eyes, different kinds of eyes, different kinds of sparshanam is touch, but what it means is different kind of skin or form. Rasanam, tongue, granam means nose. So what all these various living entities have different organs of the body, which basically means they are different species. Some have a tail, some don't have tails, some have wings, some don't have wings, some walk on 2 legs, some walk on 4 legs, some walk on 8 legs, insects, so on, whatever may be, the some walk on 100 legs, and so on. But all of them, there is one commonality. Adhishthaya manashchayam, there is a mind in all of them by which they enjoy. Every living entity knows what is enjoyment and what is not. Basic living entity enjoyment is food. I want to, you will see even the flies and insects come near food. And there are so many other ways of enjoyment. You give a bone to a dog, that is enjoyment. It's not food. He doesn't eat the bone, he just plays with it. So there are so many ways of enjoyment for a living entity. And so the mind is the one that enjoys. So Vishayan, and what it enjoys? Vishayas. Vishaya means sense objects. Upasevate, unka sevan karta hai. मतलब उनको enjoy करता है. The living entity enjoys. Sevate means to sevan karna, or to consume, or to consume for enjoyment's purpose. So we have so many desires, and according to our limited capacity, Bhagawan allows us to enjoy the material world. Still in the material world, he says, okay, you can enjoy. If you were too aggressive, you will get some punishment, but you can enjoy also. And Bhagawan is not very happy with our position. He wants us to come back, but still he lets us enjoy. So the translation is, the living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, shrotam, eye, chakshu, tongue, rasanam, nose, granam, and sense of touch, or skin, or whatever, sense of touch, sparsham, which are grouped about the mind, the man, right? Adhishthaya manashchayam. And he thus enjoys, what is that? Upasevate, a particular set of sense objects, a particular, whatever the that particular living entity enjoys. Honey enjoys, not honey, I mean, bee enjoys honey. A fly enjoys dirt, or waste. So for fly, the waste is like a sweet, relishable thing. For a honeybee, the nectar of the flowers is relishable. For various living entities, for a dog, bone is relishable, and so many things. So they are all enjoying. But who has the capacity to realize this? A human being has a capacity to realize this. So chakshu was used in this verse. Shrotram chakshu sparshanam cha. Now, a special type of chakshu will be talked about in the 10th verse, which is Gyan Chakshu. So, other animals cannot have Gyan Chakshu, only human beings can have Gyan Chakshu. So, Krishna is going to talk about Gyan Chakshu here. So, the verse is Utkramantam sthitam vapi भुञ्जान वा गुणान्वितं विमूढ़ा न अनुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति चक्षुषः. So उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि, that in this body, or once you are in one body, some desire is there, so you quit this body and Bhagavan puts you in another body, sthitam vapi. So this cycle is going on. Bhunjana va gunanvitam. So under your desires and the cycle, you keep enjoying bhunjana, and you keep going through these cycles. And what is such a living entity called here in this verse? Vimudha. And when you get a human life, you don't realize I have been going through this endless cycle. And even in human life, one wastes the human life and does not take the opportunity seriously to realize that this cycle has been going on of struggle, and wastes human life also in a animalistic enjoyment. Even though the human life is the least capable of all other forms of material enjoyment. Material enjoyment is the least possible, like actual material enjoyment is least possible in human life if you compare it with other life forms. Whatever you think you can enjoy, some animal form can enjoy it better. The thing that humans can enjoy, which no other life form can enjoy, is not material as in gross material, it is intellectual. And that is why when the mind is the most pleasurable sense organ, in the mind maximum happiness occurs for a human. And therefore, if one uses the mind itself to do that introspection and inquiry, then one can make spiritual progress. That is Jnana Chakshu. So, Vimudha, as long as a human being remains a Vimudha, a fool, he will not do this. But Pashyanti Jnana Chakshushaha, that with Jnana Chakshu, one can understand or has the ability to understand. So the translation is the foolish cannot understand. That is the Vimudha na anupashyanti. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit this body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. Gunan vitam. Under the modes of material nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge. This means a person who is engaging in inquiry can see all this. Pashyanti Jnana Chakshushaha. So that is the purpose of human life, which was also said in verse number 4. What was said in verse number 4? Yasmin or Tatah Padam Tat Parimargi Tvayam Yasmin Gata Na Nivartanti Bhuya. That having come to this material world, one should inquire what is a better formula, what's a better way to better future for my soul. A better future for my soul is not to take another material body, but to go to the spiritual world. And how to do that? The answer is given in next verse. So we'll go to the next verse, the 11th verse. So why can't we see all this? Because we are mudha. We are entangled in sense enjoyment. We think we can enjoy to the maximum. YOLO life. You know YOLO? All we have mentioned this before, right? You live, what is that? You only live once. So like, एक ही मौका है, enjoy करो बस, full 100 miles an hour enjoyment. So you have one life only, just enjoy to the max. So many people are living the YOLO life. They are called Vimudha. But who can see this? Pashyanti Jnana Chakshushaha. So, and how to see all this? How can we see this? That will be revealed in 11th verse. And then we will see that how Bhagawan helps us in this process. So the endeavoring transcendental, okay. Yatanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmani avasthitam yatanto apyakrit atmano nenam pashyanti achetasaha. So yatanto yoginah chainam, which means that those yogis who are yatanta, who are constantly engaged in this inquiry process, yatanto yoginah chainam pashyanti atmani avasthitam, they are able to see, they can clearly see that what is the actual position of the pashyanti atmani avasthitam, that my soul or the living entity is right now in the material world. They can see this, and they can also see that it is not the natural place for the living entity to be. The natural place is somewhere else. Yatanto api akritatmano naenam pashyanti achetasaha. But on the other hand, those who are not situated in this yatanto api akritatmanoho, so one who are not situated in this inquiry, na enam pashyanti achetasah, they are not able to see this. So they may think, why am I suffering? Or they may think that why this suffering is happening, Nobody likes suffering. They may always question, but they never go to the higher platform. They never search for a higher solution. They are just searching for material solution. Maybe this time, maybe this, or this woman was not good enough, let me go to this other woman, maybe she'll be better. They are all, or man, I'm just saying woman, man, whatever, as a this or this job, this boss was not good, this friend was not good, this neighborhood was not good, this country was not good. The whole material world is more or less the same. So one keeps trying material solutions and one continues to fail. And such people are called achetasaha, that they are fools. They have no mind. Achetas, no mind itself. Same thing as abuddhayaha, no buddhi. Achetasaha, no mind. So Krishna is using strong words here. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can clearly see all this. But those whose minds are not developed, achetasaha, those whose minds are not developed, try telling your friend, hey, your mind is not developed. That will be the last sentence to your friend. So Krishna is using pretty strong words, and then people say, oh, this Bhagavad Gita is very strong. It is very using strong language. Bhagavad Gita is supposed to harmonize and make everybody feel good. Yeah, we can make everybody feel good. So try telling it to Krishna, who is saying achetasaha. I mean, reading the Sanskrit, okay? There's nothing to do with the English translation. Sanskrit. You don't have a mind, achetasaha. So try telling to anybody you don't have a mind, you are a mindless person. And who are not situated in self-realization, cannot see what is taking place, though they may try, yatanto api. So which means they are trying material solutions for material problems. They keep trying the same formula over and over again, just like shooting darts in a dark. Yeah, some dart will hit. Sometimes you will get success. But they think that now I have found the formula for success. That is not the case. And those who are the transcendentalists, yogi, so if you are not you cannot inquire, the hint or the clue here is to associate with such yogis, to take help of such yogis, to associate. This is called sadhu sangha. So by associating with those who have found the answers through the process of inquiry, through the process of self-realization, they can be a very good resource for helping us to find the right path, to show us that your formula is not working. Your material formula is repeatedly failing, not maybe repeatedly, but has a 90% failure rate. It may have 10% success rate, but it is basically as good as failing. So you must look at a spiritual formula. So here, so far, now we will see a change of tone from verse number 12. So, so far, it is all about our effort. We have to do the inquiry. We have to go to the transcendentalists or the learned people. We have to do the chitva or the cutting of the tree with the asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. We have to develop this nirman and nirmoha and kama, virakti, kama, develop the detachment from these material sense desires. All these things we have to do. If Bhagawan is our father, is he helping us to come closer to him, to show us the right path? What is he doing? If he loves us so much, like a father, if a child in the material world, if the child is doing something wrong, we see the father also helps. Of course, the child must, try on his or her own, but father also helps. So the next four verses, 12, 13, 14, and 15, are talking about what help the Father, Bhagavan, provides. So this is shown at four different levels. At the overall cosmic level or the celestial level, then at the planetary or terrestrial level, at the personal or physical level, and at spiritual level. At all levels, Krishna comes and helps us. So 12th verse. Yadaditya tejo jagad bhasayate khilam yat chandramasi yat chagnau tat tejo vidhi mamakam. So the splendor of the sun, yad aditya gatam tejo, the tejo of the aditya means the sun. So the splendor of the sun which dissipates the darkness, bhasayate akhilam, which spreads jagat, which dispels the darkness and in the entire world, or illuminates the entire world, comes from me. So first thing that Krishna is doing is providing us the sun, which means he's providing us all the material facilities. That is the basic point. So sun is the first thing. As I said, without the sun, there is no life anywhere. Within water, on land, in air, nowhere. Sun is the one which is giving the primary source of life, of energy in this material world. So first thing is sun. Yat chandram asi yat cha agnav. He is the Chandra. He is the Agni. These are the same things that were mentioned there in the, like, as being absent in the spiritual world, because Krishna is directly those things. That was the understanding. So one can say, Are, in the spiritual world, you are doing the job of sun, moon, and Agni, Pavakaha. Na tad bhasayate suryo, na shashank, what is that? Na cha pavakaha. What is, oh, I keep forgetting these very sweet verses. Na shashanko na pavakaha. So, in the spiritual world, you are playing the role of all these. What about material world? Krishna is saying, yes, I am playing the role here also, because all these sun, moon, and fire come from me only. Basically, these are the ones that sustain life. The moon also helps in sustaining life. In the for us, I mean, scientifically also, we know moon is very important. It attracts all the asteroids that may come and hit Earth. Moon is revolving like a protective shield. It's a gravitational protective shield around the Earth. Very heavy object, which it's like attracting all the. Otherwise, we'd get bombarded with so many asteroids. Just from a modern scientific perspective. Yat Chandramsi, Yat Cha Agnav, and Agni is so important. Without Agni, nothing will, not much can happen. We won't get heat in the winter, we won't get light, we won't get food, so many things. Tat Tejo Vidhi Mamakam, everything, all the energy or all the resources, the facilities that are coming from these are coming from me alone. So the splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me. And the splendor of the moon and the splendor of the fire are also from me. So Krishna is basically providing all the resources for us to live. Now, this is important. Now you can say, so the problem is we take these things for granted. What is so big if he has given the sun, the moon? So we take for granted. So that is not that's not the only thing. Krishna will go on. There are 4 verses. So even if you feel I am entitled, this entitlement mentality is very much there in us. We think we have these rights. What have we done to get these rights? Just sun also. Now those who live in Oregon can say a little bit about sun. They are jealous of the people living in California. So it means they value the sun. Here we don't get that much sun, so we keep saying, oh, you are in California, you are so lucky. We are here in Oregon. Even Seattle people are even more sad because there it's even more rainy. So sun is important, we realize. California people, they take it for granted, right? So we should tell them, you shift to Oregon, then you will realize the value of sun. Similarly, it's just a joke or whatever, lighter mood, but the point is we take it for granted. Okay, so we should not take these basic facilities that Krishna has provided for granted. Next, Gamavishya cha bhutani dharayamyaham ojasa pushnami cha aushadhi sarva somo bhutva rasatmakaha. So what else is he providing? That I enter into each planet, into the Gam. So each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. So dharayami. So aham dharayami aham ojasa. So by my ojas, by my splendor or by my energy, dharayam means I hold them. So from the modern understanding, we can say that the planets are in orbit. And we can understand how much technology goes into keeping a small satellite in orbit, from preventing it to collide against each other. Today, there is so much space junk, and they are afraid of sending more satellites because they are afraid that this space junk will come and collide. If it's all natural, why you have to worry? Why you have to do all these calculations? Why we are worried that one asteroid and will come and hit the earth? It seems that is what happened, according to whatever scientific theories, that destroyed the dinosaurs. So if they can destroy the dinosaurs, another asteroid hit can destroy humans also. So who is keeping all these? So humans have not been destroyed in the last 65 million years or whatever, so many years. So somebody is keeping track of these things. Who is it? We take it for granted. Today, every newspaper should publish headline: Today, no asteroid hit the earth, thanks to Sri Krishna. Nobody says that way. But it takes some scientific, you know, energy to make sure that we are not annihilated at a planetary level. पुष्णामि च औषधि च औषधि सर्वा somo bhutva rasatmakaha. So I become the moon, soma bhutva, and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables, to the aushadhis. So through the moon, Bhagawan is providing the rasa in the aushadhis. So which means all these things that we consume. When there was COVID going on, everybody was saying you should take 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C every day, which will keep you, it will boost your immune system. How you get vitamin C? Which factory can produce vitamin C? No factory can produce vitamin C. You need raw ingredient first. What are the raw ingredients? A source of vitamin C, like oranges or other citrus fruits like berries or whatever, they provide vitamin C. They are the aushadhis. All the nutrients, where do we get nutrients? Just basic carbohydrates. Where do we get it? Can factory manufacture carbohydrate? Factory can manufacture what you call cereals, whatever, raisin bran or whatever cereal. Where do they come from? They come from wheat and rice and so many things. So the raw ingredients are all coming from Sri Krishna. And Bhagwan has given all these things. We have to also eat and digest. Where is that coming from? Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva. Next verse, which is 14. Praninam dehamashritaha pranapan samayuktaha pachami annam chaturvidham. So pachami annam chaturvidham. To digest the food, chaturvidha, the four types: licked, sucked, chewed, and what's that? Licked, sucked, chewed, and drunk, I think. So the four types of food, basically, how do you digest them? Bhagwan is doing all the things inside. Once you eat the food, all the digestion converting to energy, you feel energized, you can go the next day. Try, for who do Nirjal Ekadashi, next day is so tired. On Janmashtami is coming up. Many people do full Nirjal Janmashtami fast. By the time, 12 o'clock, the curtains open, you have no energy to do kirtan. Now, maybe due to bhakti, there is energy, but when I cannot do Nirjal on Janmashtami. I now started taking some juice and other things because just, how the food gives energy. Who converts that food or drink to energy? The whole bodily system creates that. What to speak of that? In a woman's body is a human being manufacturing factory. Every woman has a factory in her stomach to manufacture a human being. So if 8 billion human beings are there on the planet, we have 4 billion factories of human being manufacturing. Ask any woman how you know to manufacture the eyeballs, manufacture the heart. Does any woman know how to manufacture? No. So Bhagwan has given all these things right here in front of our eyes. And so, we need to be grateful to Bhagwan that he has given us the food. Then he has given us the machinery in our stomach to digest it, to give us the energy. So Bhagwan is coming from one level down, from sun and moon to vegetables, to the ability or the food, to the ability to digest and convert that food to energy. And from that, finally, what is the thing humans are supposed to do in this human life? To inquire. Inquire about what? About Bhagawan. But today's class, we are just saying in a funny way, inquire about a better formula, right? From going from material formula to spiritual formula, that inquiry. So what organ of the body does the inquiry? The buddhi, or the mind. So that is what is there in the 15th verse, which is also very important. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritirgyanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta kridveda videva chaham. Again, Indra Vajra, 11 syllables, meter long one. So what is Bhagavan giving us? The buddhi, or the mind. Again, I'm collapsing the two. It's okay. Where, so second line, mattah smritir jnanam apohanam cha, the ability to remember things, to understand and analyze. Jnanam. Mattah, from me comes what? The ability to remember and to analyze. And apohanam also, to forget. Very important, to forget also. Forget is like a cleansing agent. Unnecessary things we should forget, so that only the important things we keep, just like a filter or a sieve. Okay, you put all the junk into it, only the useful stuff remains, the waste is filtered out. That is the beauty of forgetfulness. What is the biggest benefit of forgetfulness in our life? Tell me, anybody can answer today. First question. Benefit of forgetfulness. Everybody thinks remembrance is good. I have good memory, good memory, good memory. Okay. One should be proud. I have good forgetfulness. So in what circumstance can you be proud about forgetfulness? Yes, Nitin Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji, all the trauma or all the bad things, even from birth, from next birth, which is, I don't think you, if I want to extend that, that will be miserable, right? If we remember even little bit about last birth.
Very
But
good.
within this life also, the trauma we need to forget.
Yes, very good. So that is very, very good. To forget all this, somebody said this, somebody said that, somebody said that. We hold on to those things. We resist forgetting them. It will be so nice if we can forget. So nice if we can forget what people said to us. All the bad things and even good things which pump up our ego. Better to forget those. Those are the things which are supposed to be filtered out. Now, Krishna's words we should not filter out and forget. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, these are the things we should, or other nice things. Maybe, some people showed love and care and kindness to us. We should remember that and either pay it back or pay it forward. Either way. So those things we should remember. We should remember spiritual things. We should remember good things. That is the smriti. So we should remember Bhagwan has given us these things and feel grateful and gratitude to Bhagwan. So that is the remembrance. We should not forget. Forget means taken for granted. अरे ये तो मेरा जन्म सिद्ध अधिकार है. Every day I should get food on the table is my right. Go ask a hungry person how rightful it is to have food on the table every day. They will die. They will, go ask the people, wherever suffering is going on, not just Gaza or Ukraine or whatever, but so many other places. Even, you go on the streets in America, you will find hungry people. So it's not for granted. So one can remember Bhagawan, thank you for putting food on my table. Minimum, one can say that, feel that, minimum. Of course, there's so much more to be. So that is first thing. Sarvasya chaham. So first thing is Bhagavan has not left us alone. He's not sitting out there in Taddhama Paramam Mama, far, far away. That's the first thing he is. He is saying, I am right there with you. Sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishtu. I am right in your heart. I have never abandoned you. Never abandoned you. I have always been there with you, like the two birds on a tree. I have never abandoned you. I have always been there and have been trying to advise you, guide you. Always. Chaitya Guru. There is Bahya Guru, but before that, there is Chaitya Guru. Chaitya Guru shows the path to Bahya Guru. So I am always there. I have always been there with you, and I give you the ability to remember good things or useful things and forget useless things. And like Nitin Prabhu said, even past life trauma is also good to forget. If somebody attacks you violently today, you'd be very mad at that person. Let's say you survive the attack. Some, abuse, whatever, violent domestic abuse, this, that, so much resentment, and it destroys people's lives. Imagine if you remember your past life and they killed you, how much resentment you will have, even though you cannot do anything about it. Today, people have resentment for so many things they cannot do anything about. It's good we don't remember our previous lives. Many things in this life itself are good to be forgotten. Honestly, I'm just saying, one time when somebody came, Prabhuji, I'm so sorry, I, said something to you 3 years ago. I said, what are you talking about? I literally didn't remember. He said, you don't remember? I said, I don't remember. I literally didn't remember. Not that I am good at forgetting, but I'm just saying I was so happy that till today I don't remember what he was talking about, and I have no desire or interest to even find out. Because finding out, oh yeah, he really did a bad thing. He said bad things. What is the need to remember where bad thing, good thing? Good that I forgot. Achha, please every day you should pray, Bhagwan, make me forget. We have the tendency to hold on, but you please erase. Control Alt erase. Control Shift or whatever, erase all those files of, permanently delete those files of bad memories, so that we can replace it with, we can have a peaceful mind of Bhakti in our life. And then Bhagavan is saying the highest thing. Remember, Parnani, Chandamsha Parnani, that I am Vedaishcha Sarvair Aham, Vedanta Krit Vedavid Eva Chaham. So I am the Vedanta, compiler of the Vedanta and the knower of the Vedanta. So I have given you the Vedanta, which means the knowledge, the spiritual knowledge I have given you, the whole knowledge. Now you will say it's too much knowledge. I will come to you, Ragatmika Mataji. I see your hand. So 1 minute. But you can say too much knowledge. Okay, I will tell you the essence of the knowledge also, which is Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyo. Okay, I have given you all the Vedas. Don't even need to read the Vedas. I am telling you what is to be known from the Vedas, which is me. So from the Vedas, just take those portions which talk about me. Just that much is enough. It's like before the exam, teacher tells you from this book, read these pages. So now one can realize how much Bhagavan is coming forward and helping us. Okay. So the spiritual knowledge is the highest knowledge, which is the higher formula or the best formula. Remember, we are talking about the formula which doesn't work and the formula which works. So material formula doesn't work. And Krishna has given us also the highest formula. That is the last two lines. Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. So much Krishna is doing, so much. Now can we say Krishna has not done anything? Our father has done so much. Yes, some we have to do also, some of it, but Bhagwan has done so much. Okay, so we will stop here. 5 more verses are left. We'll cover it next time, and then we'll probably start chapter 17, 16 also. Any questions? Yes, Rajvidya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
First of all, this question that I'm going to ask, it's based on the assumption that forgetfulness is intentional. Just like remembrance is intentional, right? There's an intention behind it. We do it deliberately. So forgetfulness is also intentional. That's my assumption. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's right or wrong.
I'll respond to that assumption. Go ahead.
So my question is that, see, Prabhuji, it's true that forgetfulness, sometimes it's a blessing. We see something very ghastly or something very tragic or something very bad, and if we forget about it, it's a blessing. At the same time, there are situations where there are people who say very harsh or very impolite. It kind of hits us, right? But being a Krishna conscious, being on this path of Krishna consciousness, at least we are learning. So, I mean, our acharyas, what we have understood is we have to show compassion to such people, right? Because they are non-devotees, they don't understand what they are saying, they don't understand Krishna's instruction. So, Prabhuji, my question is, what is the situation? In which situation should we not forget and should we intervene and help the person, right? And in which situation should we forget about it and just move on?
All situations, forget and move on.
All situations. So we should not show compassion. We should not try to help the person.
Help the person unless he asks for help.
Okay.
Krishna did not offer help till Arjun asked. Okay. So if a person is explicitly asking for help or implicitly, like a beggar on the street, he is not coming to you and asking for help. He's in generally, he's like, has his arm or hand in a asking position, you can help. But the help that you can provide without being asked, so it's not that we provide zero help, but without being asked, we provide 2 types of help. One is praying for them in our mind, really sincerely, not like a lip service. And second, by our behavior. If they are close to us or something, or they are somebody who is seeing us. So by our constant good behavior, we teach them. If they are not asking and if they are not in our shelter, so if we are not a guru, even parent is a natural guru, even a teacher is a guru, any kind of teacher, even if you are a math teacher, if the student comes late, you can tell the student, hey, you should come on time, even though he's trying to learn math from you and not manners. Coming on time is manners, let's say, or whatever, good gentleman behavior. Still, as a math teacher, you can point out some things. Hey, don't disturb the other child, or sit properly, something like that. So parent, teacher, guru. Now, difference between adhyapak and guru means spiritual guide, or some position of authority like your boss in office. He's paying you salary, so he can tell you, or you can tell if you are the boss or manager or superintendent, you can tell. So there are places where they have implicitly or explicitly. Now today's employees have become so you know this one, they think it's my right. Even students, they think they can abuse the teacher. That's not the correct way. So we are not talking about those ultra sort of, what should I say, ultra this politically correct, or you cannot say anything, or not in the in a Vedic manner. There are positions where you can correct someone when you have been given the explicit or implicit authority. Other than that, nobody has given us the license to correct anyone. To show compassion, we can show by our prayers, not show, but to really be compassionate through our prayers and through our acharan, sadachar. Okay. And through regular prachar. If you are a pracharak, regular prachar, but you should not force them. Hey, come and listen to this class. And in this class, basically I'm talking to you, but in a third person tone. But I'm giving you a lecture for all the bad things you did. No. The prachar should also be very, very broad-minded, not targeted. Hoping that the person will learn on his own. At best, or in the most severe cases, you can tell the person's guru or the person's whatever higher authority that, hey, this person is under your care. If there is such a person above him, then you can say that, hey, maybe for this person's benefit, not as a, hey, I need compensation, or I need, revenge or a apology, not from that intent, but purely from the benefit of that person. You can tell the other persons that, hey, for purely his benefit, I am coming and telling you, no gossip, no this one, etc. But then you can do that. And yes, in some cases, not as a, you can express to the person one-on-one, I felt hurt when you said this or that, but not as I am holier than thou. You are non-devotee, I am devotee. Come, let me fix you. No. It has to be more like a one-on-one peer level. If like this did something which maybe unknowingly or whatever, you can let them know in a very sweet, in a very Vaishnava way, where they feel respected, and you can let them know in a very nice way that you may have done this unknowingly, but it caused this impact to me. That's about what. So how much I would say. Otherwise, we should simply tolerate. Trinadapi sunichena. And tattenukampam susamichamam. So, and what is that third verse?
Dasanudas.
Yeah, the third verse I'm thinking of is 114, BRS 214. I remember numbers more than the verses. Anyway. Yeah. So remember Bhagawan, take shelter of Bhagawan, forget all this. Just focus on your bhakti. And you be friendly to everyone and pray for everyone. Snake's nature is to bite. Devotee's nature is to protect. Okay, does that help?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hari Bol. Actually, Srila Prabhupada ji also, I mean, that we have to, yeah, mostly I was saying it from I was asking this from the prachar perspective only. So, I mean, knowing that this is so important, Krishna consciousness is, and I mean, we feel responsible if somebody is, so, but yes, if they are not receptive, there is no patra, there is no point in telling them this, I mean, these nectarian instructions. There's no point in doing that. It's only an insult. It's only a disrespect to this. Um, yeah, but yeah, so you gave some ideas like we should role model, especially if it is in the family. We can role model and pray for them. That's the best we can do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just get it. But फिर प्रचार कैसे होगा प्रभु जी कैसे how
Yeah.
more and more
Prachar should happen. Definitely, prachar should happen. But two things, we should not make it targeted.
Yeah.
Number one, and we should not drag people and ask them to come sit.
Yes.
Prachar has to be like a loudspeaker.
Yes.
Not, I'm saying it should not be on loudspeaker, but I'm saying as a, like you are sitting and you are throwing out your sound waves. And you can advertise, yes, this class will happen at this time, but not like, there is a fine line between dragging people and forcing them to come. And if there is purity in your heart, purity is the force, Prabhupada said. There will be the force of attraction. The gravitational force will be strong. They will get attracted. They will get attracted. So if there is purity in your heart, there will be the gravity in your speech and they will get attracted. And beyond certain time, yeah, even when Prabhupada was here, the whole world did not become Krishna conscious. What to speak of Srila Prabhupada, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or, Rupa Goswami or Bhakti Siddhant Maharaj. So there will be Manushyanam Sahasreshu. So, yeah. So, but don't drag people but do prachar, vigorous. Keep your head high and do prachar. Don't beg anybody. Pracharak should not go like this. Pracharak should give, not take. Don't take any obligation from anyone. Don't accept any money. Don't speak for any favors. Don't speak to somebody with an expectation of any favors. Pracharak should go as if I have come here to give. Like a trillionaire should come and give, like he's just throwing the money like this. Whoever want to catch can catch. And he should throw with the mood that this is like jewels I'm throwing. Please take, and I'm coming here to give more than you can ever repay me. Like that. But with purity, not with pride, with purity. And then Krishna will send those and then for other people, Krishna will send them to other places to get the message. We are not yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? All right. So thank you very much. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, alabdheva vinashteva, that one. Okay, bye. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.